So after a very long time, the fire only strategy in BTE6 is no longer a meme. It is actually a legitimate strategy that you can use and win in chimps mode in BTE6. So as the years have gone by, people have tried so many different things in BTE6, and that includes myself as well. I mean, you guys might have seen other people do stuff like, I don't know, fire only, but then you might see something like ice. Well, I'm not sure if ice only is a thing, but I guess you can find some towers that kind of freeze stuff. But you know, maybe you've seen something like storm only, or I don't know, like flying towers only, or whatever it is. And people have been, you know, trying to do these self-imposed challenges for a very long time. And actually, one of those was the fire only based strategy, where you would just buy, you know, these towers that attack with fire, and you would hope to kind of make it work. And so now, after a very long time, this thing is no longer a meme. This thing is an actually legitimate strategy, which is going to get you the win. And today I wanted to kind of do that, and I wanted to kind of show you guys how you would want to go about the strategy. Like, let me just use the cocktail fire, by the way, because it's round 15. And let me kind of explain why the fire-based strategy is actually so good nowadays in BT6. So first off, what we're gonna do is we're going to get this thing to, like, let's just get the hot shots, but let's have it something like as a 302, and I'm gonna keep it as a 302 because we're not doing that well versus purples. So yeah, all of these towers individually got buffed for some reason. I actually don't know what the reason is. Like, there's probably no need to buff them, but they kind of did, and now this strategy just works. So let's go through the individual towers. Actually, I'm not sure if the Ring of Fire and all these combat textures got some buffs recently, but I do know, oh, let me just use the Crusher, by the way, on this map for the one red balloon. Yeah, but I do know that all of these other ones did get buffed, in fact. So for example, when we're talking about the Dragon's Breath, I'm not even thinking about the Dragon's Breath, I'm thinking about the Summon Phoenix when I'm talking about this tower. But this tower now attacks from 2 Dragon's Breath projectiles instead of 1, and it actually goes up to 3 when you get the Wizard Warrior Phoenix, which is the plan for this round, by the way. And for some reason, this thing now has 2 separate attacks. I don't know why. I don't know why they had to do this. They absolutely did not have to do that, but they did it. So we're gonna take it. We're absolutely gonna take it. The Signal Flare Mortar actually did not get buffed, but the Sharing Shells, I think, got some, like, a little bit of extra damage versus mob class boost, which is, it's not a lot, but it's always like welcome, these buffs. And then Gwen probably has the biggest buffs, which ties everything together. So Gwen gives them 10% extra attack speed to all 3 of these guys, actually, and then eventually this goes up to 20%. But Gwen herself also got some really nice buff recently, which is the Heated Up, which now triggers, I forget, it was every 30 or 40 attacks. But it's a fixed number. It didn't used to be a fixed number. So that basically means that the Heated Up buff in combination with the attack speed buff just makes all of these guys super strong. And it's like a mini alchemist. They always like to think of Gwen as like a mini alchemist for these towers, and it works super well with this, with the Summon Phoenix Wizard now, especially now after all of these buffs. So you guys are gonna see it in a second, but let me get the Monkey Sense because this thing actually gives it a little bit of extra range. And I'm also gonna be buying an Alchemist and stuff like that, because even though it's a fire only strategy, we're still allowed to buy stuff like I don't know, like an Alchemist in a village. But it's like, you know, the main theme behind the strategy is going to be these fire-based towers. So first off, let's just try and deal with this thing. Let me use the cocktail. We're going to have 2 fires, and yes, nothing is passing through these guys. Yep, that's very good. Yeah, let's see how we're going to make this thing happen, but I do want to tell you guys about something that happened last night. First off, am I buying this to the Hot Shots and to the Ring of Fire? I'm not exactly sure, because I think that this thing is going to deal with the Camel Purples. It's got some attack speed, but I'm not exactly sure. So let me actually give it a little bit of extra attack speed just through the Jungle Drums, I guess. Last night I messed up a little bit. I fell asleep with my contacts. So yeah, it was like, I don't know if it's true that you can go blind if you fall asleep with your contact lenses, but I always have this, like, at the back of my mind. I'm like, just don't fall asleep with them. And I've worn contacts for my entire life almost, but well, I've actually worn contacts, I think, more than I haven't in my life. And I don't know what happened last night, but I guess I was too tired and I kind of fell asleep with them. And so I wake up in the morning and I'm like, wait a minute, I can see too good. Like, what is happening? Why am I seeing things so clearly? And I remember, oh my god, I have the contacts on. So I don't know, I took them out immediately, and my eyes were like, they were a little bit tired, I could tell, but also there was like this little white slimy thing from my eyes, which was a little bit worrying. But I felt no pain or anything like that. But I was just like, man, how did you do this? How are you falling asleep with your contacts? But actually, we do get the money for the Summon Phoenix, and just look at all these buffs, by the way, above this guy. So 10% from Gwen. We're gonna give it an extra attack by buying this. So now it's gonna attack from 2. Oh, you guys see that? 2 Dragon's projectiles. Around 49, let's see how this this thing does, it's just gonna eat it up, isn't it? Yeah, it's gonna eat up everything with the heated up buff and everything. Like, you don't even have to worry. I know that we're playing on a super long map, but even if we weren't, like, there's nothing to worry about. And even if you decide to go for like a true, you know, zero extra towers, like no village, no anything like that, this thing can still work the fire only strategy, because you have the camo. You can deal with purples through this, and then Gwen eventually, you know, when she hits, I don't know, it's like level 15 or 16, something like that. Yeah, it's level 16. She can deal with purples as well. I know it's a long ways off, but you can probably even keep the attack like 3 or something like that. Yeah, you can absolutely just destroy chimps mode just by, you know, just by having all fire towers, which I'm not exactly sure used to be possible. Maybe it was, but you know, even if it was, now it's just like super easy. It's a lot easier than it used to be. And look at this thing, it is just eating up these mob class balloons. 54 is gonna be an interesting one. It's got some mobs, it's got some ceramics as well, so that's what makes these, you know, 50 stuff. When you have basically the strongest thing that the game can throw at you at this point is mobs and ceramics at this point, because you get all these BFBs and stuff after the 60s, right? So yeah, at this point, you know, this is all you need, guys. You don't need anything else. And keep in mind, this wizard is not being buffed by an alchemist, and actually it's not getting any help in any other way. So for example, we're not slowing the balloons down, right? We're not, I don't know, we're not weakening them through something like, I don't know, like an ice tower. I'm really trying to find a spot for this alchemist where it's gonna prioritize the wizard with the brew, but at the same time it's not gonna be able to buff the attack up top. And I think that there's no way to avoid it. So let me just actually test it. And yeah, oh no, it actually buffs the attack. So now this might be a little bit of a challenging round, but it doesn't exactly look like it, because this mortar has some attack speed, and the attack speed seems to be just enough so it always leaks like 1 or 2 purples, and then we just deal with them with this thing, with the hot shots. And so it was a good idea to not upgrade this thing to a ring of fire, but I'm actually still not gonna upgrade it because I want to see how the Summer Phoenix deals versus round 63. So let's actually use the ability. Let's wipe these guys, and then if we're lucky, we're gonna have this Phoenix stay for the first wave of ceramics. Yeah, there we go. Although it doesn't do that much damage, honestly, but I think that the way, oh my god, where did these guys go? Okay, let's just speed things up. I hope this Phoenix disappears. Yeah, there we go. So we can see how the wizard actually just deals with all of these guys. And yes, look, it's a little bit different without the Phoenix, but come on guys, this thing is just wiping them by itself. So the last time I did a showcase on this thing, as soon as it came out, I did a showcase on the Summon Phoenix, but I don't think I bought the Wizard Lord Phoenix. In fact, I don't think that I've bought the new Wizard Lord Phoenix like ever. Maybe like Sandbox, in Sandbox for sure, but I don't think I've bought it in like a real game. So let's start wiping the map. So round 74 is about to end in a second, and let me just use the first Phoenix so we can deal with the first BFB and these 45 mobs. And then if I'm correct, it's gonna disappear before these, yes, there we go. So before these huge waves of BFBs come in contact with our Summon Phoenix, that is when the Phoenix is gonna disappear. And this is really important because I do want to see how this thing deals with it alone. We should get a heated up trigger in a second. And look at this thing. So it is starting to leak a little bit. Oh wow, so this is why you need the ability. Let me actually use the Crusher onto these guys. I kind of missed a lot of them. And are we using the Phoenix? I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna let these guys, yeah, they're just gonna get dealt with by this guy. But I do want to save the level 10 ability actually for the next one, for round 76, because it's just gonna be a bunch of ceramics. So let's kind of burn these guys down. Let's just deal with them really quick. So let's actually work towards buying this thing. I don't think that we're going to get the money before we have to deal with this huge wave of BFBs, but it's going to be like in the middle of them. And so let's see how much of a difference this thing is going to make. I don't think that 3 attacks is going to make that much of a difference. You kind of want to buff them, and you also want to buy some debuffs actually, so that, you know, you make the most out of them. But yeah, we're definitely going to leak. So let me actually just buy this thing, and bam, there we go. So we also get a passive Phoenix, which is really nice. Again, just some free Phoenixes, and then this ability is so good. It's actually crazy how good this ability is. So look at this, a bunch of BFBs, but I'm just gonna click one button, and this guy, I don't know if you guys know, but this guy disappears actually. He goes like, he turns into the Phoenix. He is the Phoenix, but you keep the passive one as well. And look at how these rounds are just disappearing. I mean, I don't know how much damage one of these fireballs does, but it's like you actually can't even notice these balloons disappearing. That's how much damage it does. But we're really close to the overclock, so let me just kind of buy this thing. Oh yes, look at this attack from the Wizard Lord Phoenix. It's not even letting these guys like make it past the village. I know that it's just Moais, but there is some BFBs beneath it, so I guess it's dealing with all of them essentially at the same time. And I'm not even overclocking it. We don't even have some damage amplifiers. So far so good. And I actually noticed a little bit of a space here which we can fit a small tower in. So this is gonna be a glue, but I'm just kind of thinking, what kind of a glue do we want? Do we want to get the Relentless glue, or do we want to do something else? And you know what? In almost every single video when we're doing CHIMPS mode, we are getting the Relentless glue. So let's kind of switch things up. The Relentless glue is one of those OG towers that you always want to have. Oh, by the way, 85. So let me overclock this thing and let's see how we do. But yeah, as I was saying, I do want to get some damage amplifiers actually. So I'm going to get the glue strike. We're going to combine it with the bottom pad. And look at this guy go, by the way. He's attacking super fast. You can't exactly see it because I guess the ZOMG is just such a big balloon. But look at these guys. Look at those flames just destroy everything. Okay, so 4 ZOMGs this time. We do have the Wizard Lord Phoenix ability. And you know what? I'm just going to use it. Let's wipe all of these guys. And look at how strong this ability is. This is going to be amazing when we use it on around like 98 or something like that. Yeah, these guys, that was 4 ZOMGs. Did you guys see them? Yeah, I know. They just disappeared. And the main attack is strong as well while the ability is down. This is, by the way, a super short cooldown on the Wizard Lord Phoenix ability. It's not as long as you would expect. Now, this tower is super important, and especially in these chimps runs, because you do need to remove the fortification so it should make the life of your other towers a lot easier. And this is exactly why you want to have this thing like the Sharon Shells. I know it's like a super expensive tower, by the way, to have, but just the value, when we hit the end and when we finish this game, I'm just going to show you guys how many pops this thing has. So you're going to be like, what? I can't believe this thing. So we do have the overclock and the glue strike. So let me overclock the Wizard Lord Phoenix, and when all these guys come out, let's glue strike them, and bang. Not even close. Not even close. That's how good this thing is. But we're not going to stop here with the damage amplifiers, by the way, because we can actually buy 2 more damage amplifiers, but I don't think we're going to have the money for both of them. So I'm actually just going to buy one, and I'm going to make sure that this one goes all the way, and that is going to be the Super Brill. So we're going to add some ice to the fire that we have over here. So let's try and buy the Super Brill, and this thing is just going to go so well with these extra attacks on the Wizard Lord Phoenix and all of the out buffs. Oh my god, more UMGs, by the way. So let's just wipe, because I guess when there's a lot of RB, you can just wipe and there's nothing to worry about. And yes, there goes the entire round. And then we are getting close to the Super Brill, which I do want to have from round 98. And you know what? Actually, 98 is one of those rounds with huge RB, but I'm actually not going to use the Wizard Lord Phoenix ability. I'm only going to let this thing attack with the overclock and the glue strike and the Super Brill. So let's just kind of deal with 95 first. Yeah, DDs are incoming. They're kind of making a full circle, I guess, but they're not exiting the circle because all these mobs are getting defortified, and then I guess it's just enough damage. I mean, this thing is getting overclocked. I'm not using the glue strike, by the way, which seems unnecessary. So let's wait for this thing to deal with the BFBs. I'm not gonna be overclocked. Actually, let's overclock it now. Let's buy the Super Brill, which is gonna be like plus, I think it's plus 5 damage that the Super Brill gives him, if I'm not mistaken. Plus 5 or plus 4, I think it was. And we do have some ZOMGs, and as usual, let's just wipe these guys like this, and this is gonna carry over for the next one. Oh yeah, there we go. And as this round is ending, 98, probably one of the most important rounds, but even though we have like $8,000, there's nothing to worry about. I should probably buy the Ring of Fire just because this thing gets like the extra Gwen bonus. But yeah, Gwen is in full effect for these guys, so this thing gets plus 20% attack speed. It's getting buffed by an Alchemist. It attacks from 3 different breath attacks, which all get buffed by the Alchemist, and then all that damage is getting amplified by the Super Brill, and you guys can see why this is a powerhouse. This is just so good. We're also going to give it plus 2 damage from the glue, so let's overclock it. Let's use the glue strike, by the way, which is, we don't have the money for the glue storm, so just use the glue strike, and look at this thing go down. It's, by the way, 100% uptime on the heated up buff from Gwen, and I mean, come on guys, this thing is wiping them without the ability. So if we wiped all those ZOMGs with the ability, now it's like not even close. But yeah, 99, this thing, unfortunately, the Mora cannot defortify DDTs, and this is gonna be basically the last of these. Oh wait a minute, are we leaking? No, we're not. No, of course we're not. What am I talking about? Yeah, there we go. But yeah, this Mora cannot defortify anything, so yeah, look at these pops. At 360,000, that's just from defortifying stuff. I mean, it's just insane amounts of damage and insane amounts of RB that this thing is essentially saving your towers, because this 360,000, if we hadn't bought the mortar, that would have been damage that the wizard needs to do, and essentially, you know, your towers get overwhelmed and you don't want to overwhelm them. This is a nice help. We absolutely take this thing down, and is the ability gonna hold on until, no, it doesn't hold on until this thing pops. So let's just overclock it. Let's use the glue strike ability, and let's just, you know what, let me just end it with Gwen. Just burn all these guys down. And are we gonna crush them? No, I was ready for the crusher, but yeah, there it is. So the fire only strategy, oh my god, 1.4 million pops on this thing. Yeah, an absolute MVP with all these damage amplifiers and stuff. But yeah, the fire only strategy is no longer a meme, guys. This is an actual legitimate strategy that you can and you actually should try out in your games. That's gonna be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.